Welcome back to another episode of the Leadway Wealth Builders Podcast, episode 155 with me, Chris Rickenbaugh. As always, I am using this podcast to document my journey in real estate and business and also talk a little bit about travel hacking and personal finance. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at chris.rickenbaugh, and that is spelled chris.REICHENBACH. And so what I do on there is I post what I'm learning, what I'm doing all throughout the day on real estate and business. And you can see all of my new listings that I just posted today, an awesome video of one of the newest flips we just put out. So make sure to go check that out, give it a like and give it a follow. And then if you're listening to this podcast, thank you so much. Leave me a good review, a 5-star rating and review wherever you're listening. You can listen on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Podbean, and Amazon Music. So without further ado, let's hop into today's topic, which is don't create imaginary constraints. So I got this quote from one of the books I'm reading right now. It's actually Matthew McConaughey's Greenlights book. So I really didn't know what to expect from it, and I've heard some good recommendations. Getting through the first little part was kind of tough, getting into the reading style, because it sounds like somebody's just kind of talking to you. But now that I'm in it, I'm about halfway through, I'm getting quite a bit from it. It's he's got a really, really cool story, and just getting into the being famous part. So it basically details, some of his mental notes from, just growing up and being, going and living in Australia for a year, being able to really dive deep inside the mind. So he has a lot of really good questions in there, quotes and everything. And then I came across this one where he talked about don't create imaginary constraints. And, I really think about this as business because, a lot of people say, oh, well, we hit a ceiling here. Oh, well, we just want to make this much. So, those are goals, but a lot of the time people are using them as constraints. So I see a lot of people say, oh, I just want to flip 1 or 2 houses this year. That to me is a constraint. It's a small goal, and then you're holding yourself back. So, figuring out what is holding you back is going to be able to help that constraint. So what I mean by that is if you think there's a ceiling, then it's only in your head. You're able to break through that ceiling. And what he talks about in the book is, being able to stay in the process and he doesn't say it, but it's be abundant. And his quote in there is, if we stay in process within ourselves and the joy of the doing, we will never choke at the finish line. Because a lot of what people have in these goals is they see that goal as a finish line. They don't really see themselves in the doing. So once they hit that finish line, it's kind of done. It's, there's what's after this. And I know Brian Lubin really talks about this as, when people retire, it's like, what do? They just hit their finish line. They didn't really have the joy in doing. So if you can find something that you're truly passionate about to where you could do till you die, that's where you're going to be the happiest at, because you're going to always stay in a process and you're going to be present. So I've heard this explained in another way by Jason Drees as an abundant mindset. So if you change to an abundant mindset, there will never be that ceiling or imaginary finish line for you. So gonna keep this podcast pretty short today. That's just something I was chewing on today as I think about, where is my business going? How am I going to be able to do that? Because in the current situation, it's so much learning, and we hit a really, really big speed bump, or I hit a really, really big speed bump, going through ending a partnership and being able to kind of bounce back from that, being able to find this new tribe of people who are doing it the correct way, who are abundant mindset, willing to pretty much help everybody. It's been such a different ball game. And then just working with new realtors. So they put out a awesome video that you need to go check out. I pinned it to my page on Instagram, so you can go and check that. It'll be one of the first ones that show up, but being able to work with these different abundant-minded people, being able to, just start working with them, being able to raise more money through these people. And it's a lot easier, and it's going to be a lot more fun. Joining one of the guys' group, it's going to be the Continental Community. So that's going to be really interesting, going through that process, figuring out, what it's really all about, and, being able to get the coaching in there as well, because you're going to be around people that are actually doing the thing. So super excited about what's coming up. But talking as the ceiling, it's, how I was having this conversation with a guy on our Deal Flow call, one of the coaches, and he said, you're in the exact position that I was, 2 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago. It's like, you just went through this thing with a partner, you're working on how do I grow, you're managing a lot of projects. It's like, where do you go from here? And then he said, you got to get really specific and clear about what you're trying to do, because for something that I said was, I have so much time sometimes, and then it's like I get bombarded 1 week or a couple days to where it's like I'm out and about all day, there's running around, not being able to sit down or, even eat lunch. But then, it gets really quiet, really boring. And he said, I was in that position too. And you got to know that this is what it's all about right here. This is the reason that you're investing in real estate. Sometimes there is things to do, and sometimes, there isn't. Like, this is exactly what you want your life to look like by investing in real estate. And it was just a really, really interesting conversation. And, that's what I related to this quote so much, is because, I'm not creating an imaginary constraint. It's like, oh my gosh, I need to be going and doing more, where it's like, this is the life that I really kind of planned out. I wanted to be home. I wanted to be able to, watch TV in the middle of the day if I wanted to, or hang out and travel with my wife. And what that looks like now with a little less money is, hey, we're just hanging out at home a little bit more. But when it gets busy, we need to buckle down, grind, get it done, and then keep going. So being able to change to that abundant mindset to where, not everybody in this world is evil. There's so many people that want to be able to help you and work with you and, contribute to what you're doing and be a part of it. That's the biggest thing that I'm really learning. And then just being able to stay in this process and not have that finish line of, for me, it would be, hey, I want to do 10 deals this year. So if I do 10, what happens after that? Is there a money goal? We could always be chasing something, but staying in the process and enjoying the process is what you're really going to get out of it. So, like I said, I wanted to keep this process short. Just, a quote for you to chew on for the end of this week. But thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you again next week.